you had a wonderful weekend and you're set to go this week. So got a lot of things to cover today, so I'll go ahead and get started. We've all heard of the 12 days of Christmas, so I don't want to talk about the 12 days of Christmas today. I want to talk about the 21 days to 2017 challenge. So what I would love to see you guys do in the remainder of, well, let's see if anybody guesses what I want you guys to do in the remainder of December. What do you think I'd like you to do in the remainder of December? Practice, study, master. Okay, there, Steve's got it, master the 21. Jerry's got it, master the 20, and Perry's got it, master the 21. So we've now got a total of, and if you do one a day, you'll get them all done by December, and that's all it should take, is less than a day for each one. So you can see we've got POA, titling, bennies, medical power of attorney, property casualty and umbrella, managed money fees, VA fees, investment weighting, risk reward, quality of life directive, end of the meeting, and turnover done. So that gives you a ton, and that does not, I'm sorry. So that gives you tons to do here in the next week or so. And then I'll be adding a couple more here, one this week and a couple more next week. So please, please, please get this, get going on this, okay? Because this is what will make your 2017. Oh, and then anybody that does all 21 scripts, anyone that does all 21 scripts and masters them, can let us know by December 31st, and we will send you a Bull Bear, you see 0.999 fine silver coin, which you can use with clients when you're in your, I used it with clients when I was talking about risk reward, and when I would ask them about if anybody would know what was going to happen in the future, and I'd, basically, we've got this coin here. It could either go up if it's a bull or go down if it's a bear. Do we know how that coin's going to end up for the next year or the next month or the next week? So if you let us know by December 31st that you've done all 21 scripts, mastered all 21 scripts, we'll send you this silver coin. So please let us know. I'd love to give out 150 of those. So again, I just went through that. I brought you to the actual website. So please, please, please go through the master's manual, okay, and get these things. And again, should you do them until you get them right? I'll see if anybody gets this. Should you do these things until you get them right? Jerry says no. Okay, everybody's getting them. No, you do them until you can't get them wrong. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Yep, that's exactly right. So last week's 5-minute moneymaker was how to make the holiday season happy and profitable. It was the Christmas Lights Tour. Guys, if you're not doing anything for your clients and haven't for the last year or so, this is an awesome thing to do for them. You just, all the directions are in last week's 5-minute moneymaker. We used that 3 years in a row, and every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I've got guys that have been doing it for 3-4 years, and they've got 2 bus loads now, and their clients bring friends. It's a great way. And when you do this, guys, you're not going to lose money on it. I guarantee you will find money by doing this, as well as just making your clients really happy. So all the directions of doing that is right there in last week's 5-minute moneymaker. And then the 5Q breakdown for last week was listening to a person who, and what can happen when you insist on telling, selling, preaching, and teaching. So when you tell, sell, preach, and teach, you can see clearly what happens in the client's minds, and that was last week's 5Q breakdown. So make sure you did watch those, or you go back to watch those. I got this email last week, and I just want to remind everybody, the actual gentleman who sent this email out, he knows what he's doing, but not in this particular facet. Blankety blank reveals the appointment setting strategy that is working for advisors now. This strategy is based on 14,000 appointments booked and 800,000 connections made via LinkedIn. What's tomorrow, December 31st, we're going to talk about leveraging this little networking hack for unlimited leads and how to block other advisors out of your home territory and get a fluent decision to say yes 93% of the time to meet, automate your systems to free up to blah, 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 blah. What's wrong with this particular advertisement? There's one thing wrong with this particular advertisement. What is it? It's for you guys, saying how they're going to make your life just so easy. What's wrong with it? There's one thing wrong with it. Well, I'd agree, Wade. Well, this is what's wrong with it. Guys, for 3 years, I've been hearing all this talk about how LinkedIn is this awesome strategy. And I will tell you straight out, he is right. You can get appointments. Why are people making appointments with you from LinkedIn? They want something from you. Do they want to listen to anything that you have to say? So you're like two sharks circling each other in the ocean. Guess how many people I've heard, everybody that does this, they make one sale. So they spend 3 months working this damn thing, make one sale. Is that successful? To work this thing for 3 months. And guys, it requires work. And it requires you to take these people out for breakfast and for lunch. And it requires lots of time. Is 3 months of that crap for one orphaned, because, are these people retired or are they working? So where's all their money? So you get one guy with an orphan $25,000 401k rollover. Terrific. So everybody's talking about how, I'm just telling you guys, please don't get suckered in by all this crap that's out there. We talked about it last week. What was last week's call about? Let's see if somebody can remember what last week's call was about. Removing what from your life? What was last Monday's call about? Removing what from your life? Distractions, exactly. Distractions and clutter. So this was this month. I got it last week. Kiplinger's cover. There's a couple of really interesting things on here. So this was their December cover talking about 2017. See if anybody can pick out something that's really a couple of things that are really interested in this. One is a huge danger symbol, and it has been for the last 50 years. Anytime this shows up on a magazine like Kiplinger's or Money Magazine or whatever, is the time we need to get out of the market. Yeah. Stocks are still the place to be. That's right, Steve. Stocks are still the place to be. So anytime you start to see, a mainline magazine telling you need to be in stocks, guess what? Yeah, stocks are not the place to be. So when they tell you stocks are the place to be, is the time is when you need to start to worry about whether stocks are the right place to be. The other thing, just a little quote from the chief equity strategist at BlackRock. Over the next 3 to 5 years, look for annual returns of 4 to 6% from global stock portfolio. Guys, what beats a what did Jerry tell us the caps were on FIAs at this point? They're up to 5. So guess what? At this point, would I be looking at putting a lot of money into the market or putting money into FIAs at this point? FIAs, okay? So who knows who this guy is? He was my favorite guy when I was growing up. I read every single book that was about him. Who is he? Yep, we're getting a lot of Teds, exactly. Ted Williams, the man. He hit 406 in 1941. He was the last player to do it. But I found out something that was really interesting that I wasn't aware of. So he gets so much, and he was an awesome hitter, but he gets so much hoopla about him hitting 406. But here's the funny thing. 1901 to 1930, every year had at least one and sometimes several batters that hit over 400. So what do you take from that? He hit 406 in 1941. Last player to do it, 1901 to 1930. Every year had at least one, sometimes several players that hit over 400. Since the 1940s, the mean major league, so from 1940s to current, mean major league batting average hasn't changed. The mean batting average has been, in the 1940s, is about 260, and guess what it is today? Yeah, you got it, Tim. That's exactly right. Yeah, Tom's got it. What's happened? Well, you know what? Tim and Tom said pitching's changed. I will agree and disagree with it, because if pitching changed, what would have happened to the mean batting average? If pitching had become so fantastic, what would have happened to the mean batting average? It would have dropped. So that's not what happened. What's happened here? And you're not wrong, guys. Pitching has gotten better, but there's another element that does not incorporate all the reasons this has happened. See, people hitting 406 used to be really common. It stopped, but the mean of batting average hasn't changed at all. So what's happened? What's happened? Well, Stephen Gould, one of the most influential science writers of the time, he held degrees in anthropology, archaeology, psychology. But he actually had all those degrees, but he didn't practice those. He was actually a science writer. And here's what he said: not about baseball, but about everything. And this goes from the Olympics to baseball to whatever feat that human body can do. As skill increases and moves toward human limits, so as we get closer and closer to what the human body can actually do, what happens between the best people and the average people? Does it get further and further apart, or closer and closer to it narrows, Tom? Exactly. The difference between average and great narrows. How much of a difference is there between a AAA ball player and a major league ball player? Huge, or shades of yeah, it's little. If you look at between a Division I large football program and the pros, there's not a lot of difference between those guys. I mean, there's a difference, but it's not big. And every single year it gets what? Smaller. So Peter Bernstein, who is a baseball fan and a financial giant, he said, competition is too tough for somebody to hit 400. I watch baseball figures like a hawk, and it seems that that's how the world has become. And now he talks about the market. The market is full of smart, eager, highly motivated, highly informed people. It's hard to be a winner by enough to matter, or to stay a winner by enough to matter. You can't beat the market unless you take big bets. So, is it becoming easier and easier to beat the market, or harder and harder to beat the market? Anybody, any money manager that tells you he's got it figured out is full 100 and not 100%, 150% full of what? BS, right, Perry? Because, first of all, how many years have people been trying to beat the market? And idiots have been trying to do it, or really smart people? And now we have even smarter people trying to do it. See, smaller, the only way you can actually beat the market is by, like Bernstein said, you can't beat the market unless you take big bets. So there have been some entities that have beaten the market by buying smaller, more concentrated portfolios, held for a long time, have a plausible chance of beating the market. And there have been some that have done that. Sequoia did it. Sequoia, since inception in 1969, has beat the S&P 500 by 3% a year. Now, what happened to Sequoia this year, last year and this year? It lost a quarter of its assets by getting clobbered, by going down. First of all, how did it do that? It placed heavy bets on just a few companies. What company? What company did they bet on that they got killed on? Anybody? They had over a third of their portfolio in one company, Valiant. And Valiant dropped 80%. So they had 30% of their portfolio in Valiant, and it dropped 80%, which Valiant, for those who don't know, is a pharmaceutical company. And it dropped 80%. The fund fell 40%, and over $500 million. So basically, 25% of the assets in that mutual fund were pulled out. It dropped by 40%, and because it dropped by 40%, everybody ran for the exit. So what did that do for the money manager when everybody's running for the exits? Locked in those losses. Why did it lock in the losses? He doesn't have money to buy. All he's got to do is what? Sell, sell, sell at 40% down. So, and that's happened now. The oak market happened to so yes, you can beat the market if you take what? The only way to beat the market is if you're taking what? Lots more risk. Yep. And it can work until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work spectacularly. Now, again, many money managers say, I'm not going to try to beat the market. I'm going to show you how we can lower the, on up markets, we won't get quite as much rate of return, but we'll protect you on the down side. What is that worth, guys? That's also BS. That's right, Fred. That's also BS. Unless he wants to what? It's BS until he does what? Come on, guys. It's BS until he does what? Wins one. That's bullshit, Fred. What do you mean? Maybe I don't understand. What do you mean by wins one? No. What I'm saying is that anybody saying, any advisor or money manager saying, hey, you know what? We won't get quite as much of the return in the good years, but I'll protect your investment on the down years, is full of BS unless he's willing to what? Well, here's what I get. There we go, Jonathan. Jonathan got it. Guaranteed. That's right. Now we're getting a bunch of people say unless he's willing to guarantee it. So hey, anytime somebody calls me and wants me to invest with them, guess what I always say? Awesome. I'm putting all my money with you. It sounds to me like you believe in this. Oh, yeah, I really believe in it. Yeah, it sounds like to me like you think this is a sure thing. Yeah, I think it's a sure thing. Super. Then here's what we're going to do. I'm going to invest all my money with you. All I need from you is to send me your what? Many of you have heard me say this. All I need from you is to send me your what? That's right, Wade. The deed to your house. If it doesn't work, then I get your house. What happens to their confidence at that point? Goes away. So here's the S&P SPIVA persistence scorecard for large cap, mid cap, small cap, and international funds. So funds underperforming their benchmark for 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. Large cap funds, 75% for 5 years, close to 90% for 3 years. Mid cap funds, international funds really are the only place that they still have the chance to beat the market. Why is that, guys? Because in the U.S. markets, well, we'll talk about this in a second, but in the U.S. markets, how many people are competing to get a higher rate of return in the U.S. markets? There's still a lot of unknown in the international, especially in the emerging markets. There's not a lot of unknown left in our U.S. markets. SPIVA persistence scorecard. Out of all the equity funds in the top quartile as of September 2013, only blank stayed in the top quartile by 2015. So, out of all equity funds in the top quartile as of September 2013, only blank stayed in the top quartile by September 2015. What's your guess there? I got a 5, I got a 5, I got a 1, 5s, lots of 5s. 4.28%. So if you've got somebody who says, look at my scorecard, look at how I did, I'm in the top 25 percentile, what do you know is going to happen to them? The only reason they were able to do that is because they were what? Taking more risks. And when you take more risks, what happens? It catches up to you. That's why you see only 4.8 over these 2-year time period stayed. That's 2 years, guys. Just think how hard it is for 5 years or 10 years. Yeah, risk and luck, Mike. That's the best way to put it. So you need to be in the market, but what's the only thing you should promise people on your market side? What's the only thing you should promise people on your because here's the one thing I will guarantee. When it comes to the market, I do make guarantees. When it comes to the risk side of my clients' portfolios, I do make guarantees. What's my 2 guarantees? Yes, that's right, Wade. When the market goes up, it's going to go up, and when the market goes down, it's going to go down, Tom. Exactly. Steve, you got it. When the market goes up, it goes up. When the market goes down, it goes down. Am I going to give them any type of guidance on whether I'm going to beat the market, be a little bit less than the market, lose a little bit less than the market, or am I just going to be straight out? When the market goes up, we're going to make money, and when the market goes down, we're going to lose money. That's it. And guess how often I'm able to fulfill that promise? I don't like to lie to my clients. I want to make sure that anything I tell my clients, they what? They get it. That's why I always just say that, okay? Now, there's a couple of hurdles that we've got to trying to beat the market or even trying to lessen the risk. Can we do stop losses anymore, guys? Will any of the markets accept stop losses? Geez, if you're a stock market investor and you don't know this answer, I'm very afraid for your clients. Thank you. No, some brokerage houses will take stop loss orders, but they're doing it internally because all the marketplaces did what with stop losses here months and months ago. They got rid of them. Why? Why did they get rid of stop loss orders? Yeah, that's right. Flash crashes. But guys, you know what? When something huge like the flash crash that happened in May of 2010, when that happens, doesn't the market fix that problem? Oh, we've discovered what that problem is. We put we've patched that so it won't happen again, right? So have we had any flash crashes since 2010? Yes, we did. Just August 2015, so just about a year ago, we had a flash crash. It lasted for about 5 hours. So guys, is there any way to fix all of these things can happen with the market? No. And remember we talked about it, that it's gotten so competitive that the guys or companies have moved their computers so close to where the exchanges are, they can now make trades in the time it takes for the light, a beam of light to go from home plate to first base. So anybody that thinks that they can beat the market when they're up against that kind of technology, that kind of brain power, that kind of computing is woefully what? Woefully deluded. Woefully deluded. And it's funny, I'm getting about 5 or 6 people to comment on all these things, which makes me think the other 100 or so people on the call are what? Believing me or not believing me? No, they're not sleeping. They don't want to believe this. Because they're convinced that what? So what's the number one way we know that everybody on this call does not have a great money manager? What's the number one way we know that everybody on this call does not have a fantastic money manager? It's easy. Aha, Jay's got it. Jay's the only one that got it. the fact that they're on the call. If they were so wealthy that a fantastic money manager would work with them, what would be the minimum client? What would be, how many assets would they have? They'd be talking $50 million, $100 million. If somebody was that good that they could beat the market or do whatever else they want to promise, they would have a minimum of $50 million to $100 million. And the fact that everybody's on this call, I can imagine that none of us have $50 million to $100 million. So guess what? None of us have that money manager. Make sense? My Spanish, Del Guerricio and the Bruder study. Divided actively managed funds. Now this is the real point I want to make though. Here's the point I want to make. This is how the thing that we need to know to make sure we're protecting our practices. They did a study and they divided actively managed funds into 2 groups. Those sold through brokers and those marketed directly to consumers. Those sold through brokers and those marketed directly to the consumers. So, how did they compare? Well, those sold directly to the consumers earned a higher risk-adjusted fee. I'm sorry, after fee, I'm sorry, I'll do that again. Earned higher risk-adjusted after-fee returns by 9.6% per month. So not 9.6% higher return, but the return was 9.6% higher than the average sold by brokers. They hire managers with average SAT and ACT scores in the top quartile. The reason you're not seeing anything over here by the sold by advisor is what? The sold direct to the consumer is beating the one sold by the advisor by 9.6% per month. Hires managers in the average with average SAT and ACT scores in the top quartile, not done so by the ones sold by the advisor. They're just average SAT and ACT scores. And have alpha with the consumer sold directly to the consumer, have an alpha slightly lower than index funds. So, you know, we want an alpha higher or lower than index funds? Higher. So those sold directly to the consumer have a slightly lower alpha than index funds. Unfortunately, what am I going to when I click the next part of the slide, what are we going to see? That the ones sold by advisors have an even lower alphas compared to index funds. So why does this matter? And it does matter, guys. Why does it matter? Because we live in an environment of what? A lot of information or not a lot of information? A lot of opinions about investing or not so much? A lot of tools that people can start to manage themselves or no tools? A lot of a direct sold to consumer competition or none? And it gets worse or better all the time for us? It gets worse. Worse, worse, worse. So there's going to be more and more, whether the DOL goes through or not, and at this point it's really questionable with Trump coming into the White House, but whether it goes through or not, do you think if it doesn't go through, there's going to be no pressure on fees? Tim, it's you then, Tim, because you're the only one that's happening to, so there's nothing I can do about it. So there's going to be continued pressure on the fees. There's going to be continued pressure on the fees. So what are we going to do about that? See, if it's on the internet, it must be true, and the internet's saying, "What about fees?" I'm just going to go and show you something, guys. I'm going to do something very innocently, okay? So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to type in money management fees. And look at what comes up. Now, am I looking to say money management fees are horrible here, or is that pretty an innocent, straightforward, just information gathering query? It's very objective. Is 1% management fee typical for wealth management? Financial advisor fees, investor fees guides, overpaying for money management fees. Just what does money management fee cost you? Compare, guys, if they go and look here, guess what? If they just Google innocently, not even trying to catch you with your hand in the cookie jar, what are they going to find out? Everybody's saying what? Everybody's saying what? That's right. Whatever you're paying, it's too high. So we had better not be hanging our fee on our money manager, right? Because if we're hanging our fee on our money manager, there's going to be tons of people telling our clients that that's wrong. See, high fees ahead. They're going to get more and more and more pressure on our fees. So you need to know your worth. And if all your worth is your money manager, guess what? If all you're going to do is try to convince that a client should pay you those fees because your money manager is great, guess what you got? You got a problem. That's right, Jay, you got nothing. You have a problem. So you better know your worth. Your worth is not your money manager. So what is your value proposition? Why should prospects do business with you? If it's because you got a great money manager, you're going to get killed more and more. You're going to die a death of 1,000 cuts because more and more people are going to walk away from you. It's not guarantees. Guys, everybody has frickin' guarantees. What is it? Bruce, you got it? That's right, Jonathan. It's the 21 process. That's the difference. It's the only thing you got that other people don't have. It's the only thing you have that other people don't have. So why am I telling you should master the 21-point checklist? Because if you don't, you are going to start to, you know what? It's a lot. Is it easier or harder to make a living than it was 10 years ago? You know, the funny thing is, it's harder except for what? Jeff Freeberg.
Yep, I'm here.
For the guys that are doing the 21, is it any harder for them to make a living today than it was 10 years ago?
No, it's the same because you're competing on something that never changes, which is we don't like working with people who aren't truthful. And until that changes, this will always work.
Yeah. So, but I do agree with you. It's harder for everybody else. So unless you want to continue to struggle with pressure on fees, with pressure on commissions, with everybody else selling the same thing, don't look for a new money manager. Don't look for new marketing. You got to do what? Get great at the 21. Yeah, Jay says the government can't take away the 21. Regulators can't take away the 21. So quit looking for the best investment because it does not exist. So you can't beat the market, but here's what you can do. You can do all the things other advisors forget to do. That's what makes you different. You do all the things the other advisors forget to do. What's important about that? It's a differential. And the things that you're doing show that you care. But the biggest thing is that you look different from every other advisor out there, and it's a way to validate your fees. See, if you're looking for the best investment out there, what you're saying or what you're thinking is, hey, my clients want what? They want to make a high return. They want to make a high return. They want to make a high return. Is that really what your retired clients are after, is the highest return possible? Boy, if you think that, you are deluded. See, can we ever make our clients happy with rates of return? You know, if I get them a 30% rate of return, are they happy? You know what? I think they're excited. I don't think they're sad. But can it make them happy? If they're getting a divorce, but they got a 30% rate of return, they can say, "Thank God I got a 30% rate of return." Or if they were having health problems, "Thank God I've got a 30% rate of return." You can't make them happy with rates of return. Because if you get them a 30% rate of return, what do they say? Hey, my neighbor got a 32. How do we get that? So we cannot make them happy, but you know what we can do? We can make them unhappy. Because if we lose their money, I don't care if you have a money manager who said, "I'm not going to get you all the upside, but I'll protect you on the downside." When when the market goes down 30%, your money manager only goes down 15%. How happy are your clients? Delighted? Delighted that you only lost 15%? Are they happy? No, they're upset because you lost them 15%. They don't remember that whole conversation. Yeah, they're furious. So we have a bad job. We can't make them happy, but we sure can make them unhappy. So here's what I want you to understand about these people. It's not just me saying that. It's not even us thinking about it on a common sense basis. Let's look at the facts. So Gallup poll, thinking about money for a moment, are you the type of person who more enjoys spending money or more enjoys saving money? So where are the saving money people? They're higher and significantly higher since when? The 2008. So people aren't looking to get the highest rate of return possible so they can spend money. They just want to what? Keep what they have. Percent of families, guys, pay attention to this graph. This is why what you do is so important. Percent of families willing to spend more or less if their wealth increases or decreases. Okay? So if they lost money over the last 6 months, if they lost money over the last 6 months, 25% of people are still willing to what? If they lost money in the last 6 months, they're still willing to what? Spend more. Now, thank goodness, 65% said they would spend less. Thank goodness. But 25% said even though their wealth decreased, they would spend more. Now, let's go over here. If they've gained money in the last, this is what's weird. That's why I want you to pay attention to this. If they've gained money in the last 6 months, what's happened to their likelihood to want to spend more? So the more they made, the more they wanted to spend or the more they wanted to save? So if we don't protect their money, what would happen to these doughheads here? If their money goes, if their accounts go down, first of all, if their accounts go down, when somebody's retired, should they wait 6 months to do what they want to do today? When somebody's retired, should they wait for 6 months to do what they want to do today? No. Why? What's different about a retiree than somebody who's 30, 40, or 50? Time. What about time? What about time? Shorter time to live, and I would say it comes down to health. Because if they want to go to Europe this year, should they go to Europe this year? How many times have you seen with your clients where they were planning for something to go to Scandinavia next year, or well, you know what, I retire, I'm going to go to Scandinavia, and then what happens before they're able to go to Scandinavia? Something happens to their health. So thank goodness if they've lost money, 65% have the common sense to not spend more money, but my goodness, that's not what, in retirement, they shouldn't be waiting to do what they want to do today. They shouldn't put off what they want to do today. And then these people, this 25% wants to spend more, gosh darn, we're the only thing that can prevent them from disaster, right? So do you get the importance of at least a 50-50, if not a 60-40, 70-30 portfolio of guaranteed versus growth? Are they really looking for this, guys? They're not looking for that. They just don't want to be sad. They like saving money. They don't like losing money. Now, how many Americans earning 100,000 describe, or how Americans earning 100,000 plus describe their economic class? Look at this. What percentage of people that are 100% plus say that they're middle class? 51. That's huge. So really, would we be happy working with any of these folks? Would we be happy with working with any folks that were earning 100,000 plus during their working lifetimes? Heck yeah, those are the people, that's in our wheelhouse. Those are the people that have saved between $100,000 and $2.5 million, $3 million. These people. And that means what percentage of people, you know, they call themselves middle class, upper class, and upper class. And then luckily, what percentage of people are actually in that group? A lot. So that's good. We have a lot of people to go to. Now, why would, you know, if they wanted to make more money, if that was their main thing about making more money, got to make more money, got to make more money, got to make more money, what would they spend it on? So first of all, this is defining attributes of the middle class, where they want us, what they would need to have in order to be comfortable. Well, hopefully they've retired. So this first one, 85%, is have enough money to retire. Well, they've already done that, so we're going to take that out. Now, they want to be able to own their own home. If they come to you and they don't own their own home yet, can you really help them? Are you going to grow them out of that problem? Being able to afford college. Well, hopefully that ship has sailed too. They've already done that. Having enough money to sometimes buy things you'd like to have, even if you don't absolutely need them. Guys, owning your own home, being able to afford college, having enough money for retirement, having enough money to sometimes buy things you'd like to have, even if you don't absolutely need them, having enough money for vacation or travel, being able to buy a new car from time to time. Guys, does this sound like somebody who wants absolute growth, or somebody who wants to make sure that their lifestyle remains the same as it is today? Peace of mind, Fred. That's exactly what they're looking for. This is not somebody, look at this. So this is how the poor, middle class, and rich spend their money. So let's look at the above 150. Well, let's look at the 50 to 150. What's the biggest circles? Where are they spending most of their money? Housing. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If housing is where they are used to spending most of their money, if you get them a 30% rate of return, are they going to sell their house and buy a bigger house? Are they going to move from the ghetto where they're living right now and move to a gated community? Are they going to change their housing at all if you get them a 30% rate of return? And guys, I remember this back in the late 90s when people were making 25 and 30% rate of returns. How many people changed their houses? Okay, what's the second thing they spend the most? What's the second thing they spend the money, or the next biggest circle where they spend their money? Transportation. So what, are they going to sell their Buick and go buy a Lamborghini now because you made them a 30% rate of return? Are they going to buy that Bentley they've got their eye on? How are they going to change the cars that they drive? Are they going to change them at all? Or are they going to drive the same cars they've been driving for their entire lives? And I'm not talking about the one, the guy who's having a midlife crisis and buys a vet. But even if he bought a vet, how expensive is that really? I mean, how much, and is he doing that every year or a one-time thing? So these things here, if you got them at the 30% rate of return, what's he going to, they're going to all of a sudden start buying huge amounts of food? Are they going to start eating out at, flying to Hawaii to eat out in the best restaurants in Hawaii? Are they going to buy a new home? Are they going to start using a lot more electricity and water, Clothes and shoes. Even if they double the amount of clothes and shoes that they buy, how is that going to change do you get what I'm saying here, guys? Do you get what I'm saying here? What am I trying to point out here? Anybody understand what I'm trying to? That's right, Perry. A 30% gain is not going to improve their lifestyle. Where would they? What one of these circles would all of a sudden become huge? Yeah, but you're right, Tim. A 30% loss, or Perry, a 30% loss would devastate them. But getting them a high return, where are they going to spend it? Where are they going to spend it? On cars and housing. That's the majority of where they're spending their money. That's half their money. Their house is already paid for. How many of them want to go buy a new house and go in debt with that? Keith, what the hell is your point about health? I don't get what you're saying about health. A guy who's retired is on what? Does health matter for a guy that's retired? They're on Medicare. So I'm not talking about, does anybody want to save up, does anybody saying, thank God I got a 30% rate of return so now I can pay for my health care? How many retirees say that? So my point here is what? If we go and try to give them the highest rate of return possible, what are they going to spend that money on? But if you don't get them a high rate of return, guess what? I'm sorry, not get them a high return. If you lose their money, then what's going to happen? If they have to start worrying about selling their house, if they have to start worrying about selling their regular car they have or driving until it drops, if they have to say, I can't buy my shoes, that's going to be a what? A problem. See, these are the two biggest things, and they're not going to change anything of what they're doing when it comes to their money. They're not going to change anything unless what? They're not going to change their lifestyle if their accounts go up significantly. But guess what? Do people change their lifestyle if their accounts go down? Yes. So where should we be investing all of our time and our persuasion as advisors, convincing them they should put more money into the market or protect a little more? Prevent losses. What do they want? They don't want to be, they're not looking for you to make them happy. They want you to make sure you don't make them unhappy. That's what they want. You are the product. The 3 main rules in relationships: don't lie, don't cheat, and don't make promises you can't keep. So what you tell them is what? When the markets go up on the growth side, when the markets go up, your account's going to go up. When the markets go down, your account's going to go down, and that's the only truth that you can give them. Can you give them any other truth other than that on the growth side? On the guaranteed side, we can say what? Your accounts will never go up as much as the market, but they also will never go down when the market goes down. That's all the promises you're going to make them. And it's why we do a 50-50. Does that make sense? So guys, my whole pitch here is just, we're at a point that the bull market is fresh and new, or it's on its legs are pretty long. No worries, Keith. Yeah, the legs are, so just at this point, if you're a money manager, you should be looking at doing what, guys? Because Jeff and Missy, when do we bring in the most RIAs as advisors? When are the people knocking down our door to come on to 5Q as with RIAs?
Generally when the markets tank.
Yeah, and why, Jeff?
Because they're losing all their clients.
Yeah, so not only did they lose their income from their accounts going down, they're actually losing more than that because of what you just said, which is losing their clients. Guys, they're not going to remember what you said about protecting a little bit on the downside. So do it right now. Make sense? Then now's the time you need to be talking to those folks. Okay? So was this helpful? Especially, I mean, this should keep this graphic in your mind. If you get them a higher rate of return, how will it change this graphic? It won't. Does that make sense? Super. So, a couple things to take from this call. Go back. If you haven't looked at that Christmas lights tour, please go look at the Christmas lights tour. It's a great thing to do for your clients and your prospects. Second thing is, make sure you're looking at those 5-minute money makers and the tape breakdowns every Wednesday and Thursday. But the biggest thing you should take from this is put on your calendar that you're going to master one of these scripts every single day for the rest of this month, so you're ready to go next year. Make sense? Super. You guys have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you all on Friday.